Retailers like Walmart, Target, and UPS they've already announced that they have plans to boost their seasonal staff in order to prepare for the upcoming holiday shopping season. And reports state that retailers are expecting this holiday season to be very, very busy despite the uncertain economic environment, and plan to start rolling out holiday shopping deals as early as October. They got to get ahead of these sales. They got to get ahead of these buyers. They got to get ahead of this economy. They got to put money in the bank. Now, this is actually really good news, and especially after high-level retail execs and CEOs are saying things like inflation will not go away until the Fed kills the consumer, which Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve have already announced that there will be more pain. There will be pain, basically stating that what people and what Americans and what the workers and everybody in this country have been feeling for the last several months and years has not been painful yet. So keep that in mind. There will be pain. And Jerome Powell has already stated that the Fed has plans and intentions to slow the economy, which is the only way that they deem it reasonably possible to get a control on inflation, which is something we do need to discuss as we see major events occurring in other countries in similar economies as ours here in the U.S. and similar moves that their governments and financial markets made to try to curb inflation, which ultimately tanked their economy and have put them in a very tough position, which is foreshadowed and predicted by many to occur here in the U.S. After reports from the Economic Ninja and Clear Value Tax warning us all about the changes that we should all expect to see as the Fed continues to slow the economy to try to fight inflation. And ultimately, this spells disaster and doom as they are destroying the average American family household in the process. Take a look at this.
Hey everybody, I'm coming in here. I hope you're doing well. I want to talk to you today about something that's very, very serious, and there's no flashy hook at the beginning to hold on to your attention. If you've never seen me speak before, I highly suggest you hold on till the end of this video because this is going to affect your life.
In the United Kingdom, the bond market was crashing. The government said their financial markets were in danger of seizing up. And their government said that they're going to allow the Bank of England to print an unlimited amount of money. So whatever is necessary to stop the crash. The Bank of England, they did their policy change. They did their pivots. They did it much earlier than was expected. So they were doing quantitative tightening. Interest rates got too high and their financial markets were collapsing.
Two sovereign nations, Japan and Britain, lost control of their currency and had to intervene. This is very, very serious. Both of their currencies, compared to the US dollar, have been collapsing, and they have now had to step in, just like the Federal Reserve had to step in to the US dollar and do something called quantitative easing and start purchasing assets from distressed banks and distressed hedge funds. Now you have two sovereign nations doing the same. This is very, very serious, and I want people to understand the reason why those two countries are in the situation they are, and many other countries are about to follow in the coming weeks, is because the Federal Reserve is having to raise rates aggressively to try and fight its own inflation battle in America. And what that is doing is putting a ton of stress on countries all around the world that have US dollar denominated debt or need to go and get more debt now at much higher interest rates.
So they had two options. A deep recession, maybe a depression, or turn the money printers back on. Turning the money printers back on, that's a short-term fix. In the long run, this is going to make inflation worse. There's going to be currency devaluation, there are bailouts, zombie companies, more financial asset inflation. If you're rich and you have assets, then yes, this is great news. This is awesome. If you're not rich, you have no assets, congratulations, you're going to get more inflation and a lower standard of living.
Now, this is very serious news, folks. Be prepared. Heed the warning. These are the warning signs. But in the meantime, let's focus on what is actually happening now, what's going on, and how folks out there who are interested in finding employment for the holiday season and ways to make more money. So we're going to cover that. But First, former CEO of Toys R Us and now Storch Advisors founder and CEO Gerald Storch said that retail could face the toughest Christmas it has ever seen, which he states is as a result of the spending habits of Americans is basically out of control, and saving and investing to be financially prudent and insulated is not a top priority or concern of many. And this is something that we talked about a lot. The more insulated you are, the higher your income levels, the more sound your savings and investments are, the stronger your family balance sheet is, the more likely you are to survive these tough economic times that we have ahead of us.
I always believe in the American consumer and that they're going to spend everything that's in their pocket. And certainly when it comes to Christmas. The problem is there's just not going to be as much in their pockets. And so with rising inflation, particularly in food costs, more and more money is going to necessities. You see the biggest growth in all of retail is in grocery sales for use at home. And so that's going to be the trend as we get to the holidays. And as you know, many retailers have a very tough spring. And so they're saying, well, we're going to get out early, be very promotional. That sounds like that's going to be good news, but it's really not going to be. It means it could be something of a retail bloodbath, if you will, as everyone tries to clear out excess inventory, which is simply a huge problem around many retailers right now, particularly apparel retailers. Look, I think anything trendy like a new iPhone is going to continue selling, but apparel is just terrible. Clothing is terrible. It's been bad for a long time. It had a little uptick right after the pandemic, but that's over now, and it's crashing again. It's very, you saw Macy's and Kohl's today hit their 52-week lows. I mean, it's just a terrible time to be in that business, and I think there are major structural problems with the economy as a whole. We kind of have the Fed pushing the brake while the government's pushing the accelerator at the same time in the same car, driving with 2 feet instead of one.
Good point. Very good point.
I don't think we're going to see things get better very very quickly. But toys, I've always felt are somewhat recession-proof. But what parents do is they'll buy one less toy, or they'll buy something a little less expensive when times are very, very tough. But it's simply not going to work, what's going on right now in our economy as a whole. And inflation is not going to go away until the Fed kills the consumer, because that's the only tool they have. It's like we create all these big problems, and there's structural problems with employment, with energy, with manufacturing, with supply chains, and with the government spending. And we're saying we're going to solve it by raising interest rates. All that does is kind of twist things around so that people run out of cash, and their credit card rates go way up, the mortgage goes way up, and they simply run out of money. And what do? Then you buy food. So food's going to keep looking good. If I had to buy one stock, it'd always be Costco, because it's one of the largest grocers in the country, and they offer great value every day, and value becomes the watchword as you get into a tough time.
And like he says, the average American shopper will spend every dollar they have in their pocket. This is a sad but unfortunate truth. But the big takeaway this year is that they will have less dollars in their pockets to spend. So the question is, should retailers be worried? We've been talking about this for a while now, multiple videos. Inflation, high prices, lower wages, lower income, less hours, that is a problem. But there are some retailers now looking to increase those over the holiday shopping season. And you may say to yourself, well, wages went up. Yeah, they did go up for some, but that actually caused somewhat of a ripple effect and a negative decline for the economy as it drove up inflation to cover some of these increased wages, with employers cutting back on the employees' hours, although positioning them in higher paying per hour wages, reducing the hours, lowering their expenses, reducing benefits, keeping them part-time. But there's good news. So I'm going to share with you guys some companies hiring and also what they're offering to entice seasonal employment, and you're not going to want to miss that. So this could be great news for employees. Dick's Sporting Goods announced plans to hire 9,000 workers for the upcoming holidays. 1-800-Flowers.com is seeking more than 8,000 seasonal and year-round associates to fill roles within production, gift assembly, distribution, and operational support. Michaels, the art supply company, is seeking 15,000 people for positions in stores and distribution centers. Target plans to hire 100,000 seasonal employees and seasonal workers that will benefit from its new wage range, starting as high as $24 an hour. UPS looking to quickly hire 100,000 employees according to a recent announcement. Full and part-time seasonal delivery and CDL drivers, package handlers, and drivers helpers. Also touting its streamlined application process that only takes a few minutes, and also mentioned that 80% of the seasonal positions open don't require an interview. Macy's plans to hire 41,000 full-time and part-time seasonal positions, and the Walmart, the nation's largest retailer, announced plans to add 40,000 seasonal and full-time workers, which include store associates, customer care associates, and full-time permanent truck drivers. For more updates on jobs, income, the economy, and how you can make more money and prepare and protect your family in these rough economic times, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it.